So maybe you've heard the news by now. But yesterday we announced that I sold my technology company Beme to CNN, and with CNN and my team at Beme and my partner Matt Hackett, we're going to be starting a new media and technology company. Money, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, making money on YouTube or as a social media person or in general is something that people love to shit all over on YouTube. That's something I will never understand. I think if you watch this channel, you know a little bit of my background, and you know that when I started my career at age 17, I was on welfare. I had nothing. Everything I have in my life has been earned. And I'm very proud of that, and I don't hide from that.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hey guys, Nathyn Brandon Masters, Breakfast Club Wednesdays. So, Casey Neistat sold his company, and apparently, we believe the reports for $20 some odd million. That's an estimated value. We don't know, but we get the idea it's up in the millions. Good on you, Casey. You do your thing. And the inevitable cries of, oh, he's a sellout. Oh, he made some money. Oh, I don't have the money that he made because I don't do shit. You know, you're bound to hear that. And it gets old. It really does. It's annoying as hell. Here's something you might want to try. Do some shit. Try to do something. Then you might do like Casey and make some money. And it's astounding to me that the minute anybody is heard to be making a large sum of money, they're met with cries of, oh my God, you're such a bad person. How could you be doing that? How could you be selling out? How could you make money? I did a video on my vlogging channel about equality of outcome and how it's a bullshit concept. It's a bullshit concept because of this. Casey Neistat, who, if you believe his story, was on public assistance, ended up being Casey Neistat now, who's selling his company for 20 some odd million, or possibly somewhere in there, but a lot of money. Let's just say a lot of money. He's selling his company. Let's get something clear, okay? There is no virtue in being poor. You're just broke. That's all it is. You're just broke. The reason you're told that there's some virtue in being broke is because most people are broke. Most people are poor or working poor or middle class, and they're not rich. So there's this imagined thing of this us against them where, and I understand, the whole anger at the 1% who are controlling everything or appear to be controlling everything. Now that I can understand. What I don't understand is the anger at a person who worked their asses off to make something, and then they decided, I'm going to sell it. Well, it's theirs to sell. They have a right to sell it. They have a right to make money from their hard work. And here's something I find amusing, that you never hear anybody that's actually doing some shit actually have this attitude, right? You never hear anybody who's really trying to get out there and make something happen for themselves. You never see them turn to somebody and go, that person made a lot of money. That sell out. You only see broke ass people doing that. You only see broke ass people who ain't doing shit doing that. And let me point something out to you. Setting up thinking, man, I would really like to do that. That's not doing something. That's thinking about doing something. You got to put a plan in action. This thing is, myself, when I was younger, I said, man, I really want to make movies. I didn't know how to make movies, didn't know anything about making movies, but I knew movies were made, so I knew there had to be some way to do it. So I had to go figure that stuff out. I went to school to do it, which nowadays you don't even have to do that because you got the internet, you got stuff right here. Do you know that a lot of the reasons people fail is because they ask the wrong questions? They don't have the mindset in the beginning to succeed. If you have a phone, you got like this $400 or $500 phone you bought that you're doing everything else, And you can find anything on YouTube or anywhere else you want. You can find the fucking porn you want. You can find whatever you want. But you can't find out how to make a movie. You can't find out how to do something that you want to do. And almost everything that you could probably ask is somewhere on YouTube and or Google. Yet you think everybody is like somehow everybody who makes money is somehow doing something wrong because they decided instead of like buying the $500 phone, they bought a video camera instead. Yes, those are choices that you make sometimes. Sometimes you make the choice to not have a car, not have a girlfriend, not have these other things that everybody else may have. And you decide, I'm going to buy things like cameras and editing equipment and things like that instead. And then you make those decisions, and that's what indeed separates you from everybody else. You have decided to do these other things that the majority aren't doing. And yes, even if you do that, there's nothing that says you're going to make it anywhere, including YouTube. But if you do make it, or if someone does make it, they're not doing anything wrong because they made it. That's what you set out to do. You didn't set out to be broke. The people who are complaining, most likely if you offered them a large sum of money, they'd be like, sure, I'll take that money and do this. And if you say to them, well, you sold out, they'll say, no, this is my job. Oh, so it's a job for you. But the other guy, it's not their job. It's not something they're doing to make money and feed their family. It's something that they're doing just specifically to piss you off. Is that the deal? Specifically to mock you and your pathetic life? Is that how it goes? Now, before people go crazy here, let's get something straight. I don't have a lot of money, okay? But I do notice this. People who work for shit, they have a whole different view of how stuff works, okay, and how things go. And I'm not a rich guy. I don't make a lot of money. But when I first started doing what I do now, the whole YouTube thing, but the films and stuff like that, I started without knowing how I was going to get to that point. All I knew was I want to make movies, so I'm going to start writing scripts. I started writing scripts about the comic book characters and things that I was creating. I just started writing a bunch of things. I was writing novels and scripts and the comic books and the movies. So I just started doing that stuff. And I didn't know what I was going to do. There was a lot of hard work into it. There was a lot of indecision. There was a lot of prayer. Yeah, I'm the theist of the group. Woo-wee. And there was a lot of that put into actually doing something. And I'll tell you what I never did. What I never ever did was look at someone who made their money honestly, legally, just created a product or created something and sold that thing and got lucky. I never looked at them with animosity. Because that is the kind of mentality why you will never make anything. It's why you will never be in a big position unless you really, really luck out. Other than that, you will never go anywhere. And let me tell you why. If your mentality is to bemoan people simply because they make money, then that means you will never make money because you don't have the mind for making money. The mentality of making money is, oh, that person made money. Let me see how they did it so I can study up and maybe I can get a little bit of that in the future. Maybe I can learn a little bit. You learn as much as you can from the people who are doing better than you. Okay? That's the way you do it. When I set out to do movies or comics or whatever the thing is that I set out to do, there's never a point where I sat out and said, man, if I could only do this for the love of it and be poor, I'd be so happy. I never did that. Never did I do that. Now, if you want to do that and that's your thing, you rock on. It's not my thing. I have bills. I have things that I have to do. I have things I want to do. Last year was my stellar year. As far as I would say, because that was the point where I actually saw that if I worked hard enough and really did the things right, I could make this into a living. I could make what I love to do into a living. And I actually saw that. And I recognized that if I actually got to that point where I was doing something, and I actually got to a point where I was doing something and doing it well enough that I could make a living for myself and actually make some money and actually that there would be people who would hate me for that. Listen, you got the big $500-$600 phones. The chick still ain't coming at you, so you might as well just get the $30 phone. The chick still ain't gonna come at you, okay? Just do the stuff that you need to do. All right. If you have this thing you want to do, put your effort into that. So everybody makes choices and everybody gets out of it what they put into it. Okay. Yes, everybody is not going to be able to do the same thing, but you have to make the choices. And a lot of those choices are going to mean sacrificing things that everybody else may have. I have things that other people don't have, but other people have a lot of things I don't have. So I made some choices. What I hear is that everybody has an excuse. But here's the thing, right? This is a guy who didn't go to college. He was actually a dropout. And ironically, a lot of people who really made it big actually dropped out. I'm not going to tell people not to go to college, but I'm going to say this. If I had it to do all over again, I would have probably just learned my film stuff and my computer stuff, and then I would have just kind of started trying to make movies or something. Of course, hindsight is 2020, and I have a lot more knowledge about stuff today, but there is something about that gut instinct, okay? There's something about that. People who succeed have that instinct, and it is something about that. When I was in college, I said, I'm going to take filmmaking and computers. That's where my focus was going to be. Filmmaking, television, and computers. That was my focus. I had no idea that we were going to be in a situation where you would be making films with computers. I knew nothing about that. I knew that, you had the SGI machines, and I knew you had Premiere that people use, but they use Premiere a lot differently back in the day than they do now. If you look at stuff computers did back then, it's laughable compared to what computers can do now. I see a lot of people who I personally deem to be lazy, uncreative, and uninspired. Yes, those are judgments. Getting real mad at people who are actually working, really trying to make things happen for themselves, and suddenly they're the bad guys now when something actually jumps off and happens for them. Now, we can have all kind of questions about, did Casey supporting Hillary help him out, or did, all these things. Well, maybe it did. If he supported Hillary and that was the thing, and he really liked Hillary, and they're like, hey, you like Hillary, we like Hillary, let's do our thing. Okay, that's fine. There are things that I've done, and people who like the things I've done said, hey, you like that, I like that, let's work together. No problem. That's the way life goes sometimes. But in the end, if you're still getting angry at people for nothing more than making money, that's because you're broke. It's not because of anything else. It's not because anybody did anything bad to you. You are broke, and you will probably never make money because your mindset is not one that says, let me get out there and really make something. Your mindset is, this person has something, and I don't have it. And if you do actually end up getting some money and you still have that mindset, you're going to be really terrible at managing the money you have, because you're always going to have this money and start thinking, how can I get what that person has? And you're going to be spending your money on bullshit instead of actually putting your money toward the things that actually are important. All right. You guys take it easy. Nathyn, Brendan Masters, Breakfast Club Wednesdays. Bionic Dance is coming up tomorrow. Breakfast Club Thursdays. And Oscar.
Say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you